Gonzalez is the mother of the late Kaylee Gonzalez, one of the four victims whose lives were taken on November 13th, 20.
What's up, everybody? True Crime King back on this Friday morning. How we doing today? As you can tell by my glasses, I am doing a drunk turkey reaction because apparently they have a phone interview with the mother of Kaylee Goncalves. If you don't know who that is, that is the victim, one of the victims of the Idaho murders that Bryan Kohberger allegedly committed. Uh, so hopefully we have a phone interview, right? And it's not just him talking about a phone interview. Um, but we'll see. It's drunk turkey, so I'm not going to get too excited yet. But here we go.
22 at 1122 King Road in a horrific manner. She had heard of the show. She's been watching for some time, her and the family. And long story short, she has a message that she wants to spread out. And also, she wants to clear up some discrepancies that may be going around out there and some rumors and kind of clear those things up. So,
I'm just wondering why would she choose your show to do that? You know, why wouldn't she go on a news outlet or something with more reach, right? Uh, kind of confusing about that.
let's get into that. First and foremost, I do want to talk about the message that they want to send out and the flyer that they have sent me to alongside with that message to be said. So this is from the Gonzalez's family, and I quote: "This is her first birthday in heaven, and so in honor of her, go out and do something that you love, or take the time to call a loved one that you haven't talked to. This, along with Maddie Day, which was 2 weeks ago, will become yearly events for these two best friends to remember them. We will never forget them." Our thoughts, deepest thoughts and prayers go out to the Gonzalez family and the Mogan family, the Chapin family, the Kernodle family, everybody that was involved, including the friends that are impacted by this. We also will never forget them, and we'll keep their memory going in the most positive manner that we can possibly think of.
Yes, of course. Still confused on why apparently she chose drunk turkey to get this out, unless Daniel is just saying that Christy Goncalves is sent him all this shit, right? Um, and I'm kind of confused on why they're doing this thing for just the two of them when there was four victims, right?
Like I mentioned before, Christy reached out to us because there was some discrepancies and things that she wanted to talk about. Now, this video here is a piece of a 2 hour interview that I'm not going to be airing. Obviously, it's just going to be some of the things that she wanted to clear up.
You're not going to be airing. What do you mean you're not going? Why wouldn't you air it? Does that make sense to anybody?
We had a phone conversation. It was about approximately 2 hours, maybe just slightly less, about an hour and 48 minutes or so. And I'll be breaking some of the things that she had mentioned to us in parts that I feel I can say. Ms. Gonzalez has seen this video prior to its release and has given me the okay to release it. I know a lot of people are going to ask, will she come on the show? Things of that nature. Right now, we haven't discussed any of that. Her daughter's birthday is coming up. Father's Day is coming up. And so I don't want to be pushy on those type of things. We're just earning some trust here.
I don't know. Something just smells to high heaven. I mean, she could go on News Nation, for example, right, and make money, or get a lot more viewers and eyeballs on this, right? Um, why would she choose to go on Drunk Turkey with only 30 some thousand subscribers when she could choose an outlet that has millions, right?
Maybe perhaps when she does feel comfortable and, wants to talk, maybe give a few words. We'll do that later on down the road. As of now, that has not been discussed, and we'll see. So the reason why Ms. Gonsalves contacted us is they wanted to spread the word about Kaylee's birthday. They saw our show with Kelly from Watch the Obsession and realized there was some time discrepancies, and they thought that they could clear it up. I did not talk with Steve. Steve is a little bit preoccupied right now. He's doing a lot of things, and Christy told me that she basically felt that she could clear up a lot of these discrepancies. So the discrepancies that we're referring to is that while I was on Truth and Transparency's channel,
He likes saying all these channels that he's been on. That you know,
there was some time figures that were stated.
it's like he goes out of his way to tell everybody that he's been on this channel and that channel, or doing stuff with this channel. We don't care, Dan.
By Steve during the interview with Olivia from Chronicles of Olivia, whereas Steve mentioned a time frame of 6 hours, 10 hours, and so on, referencing the time that sheriff and authorities officially notified him of the time of the passing for their daughter, and when they first heard about the situation. Now, we'll start off from the top. They had absolutely no idea of the murders in the morning. When it comes to the different times, according to Christy, Steve is terrible with dates and times.
Okay, well, real quick, we know that they had no idea about the murders in the morning because nobody would. No, the roommates, Dylan and Bethany, didn't contact anybody until hours later, right? 7 or 8 hours later,
And so some of those things that he was mentioning, he was speaking out of emotion, and they may not be 100% accurate. And he's got a lot of dates and a lot of times in his head. The time in which the incident occurred, the time in which, a family member called them, the time in which they finally made contact with the Moscow Police Department, and the time in which it took for the Moscow Police Department to have authorities go out there and explain to them what is going on. So there was a bunch of different times those things do get mixed up. And Christy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, stuff that important. I mean, I guess what Daniel's saying could be true, but I don't know. I've had family members die as well, and I never forget the time and the date or the details. It's burned into my brain forever, right?
He kind of mentioned to me that he was emotional in those interviews and may have been speaking out of emotion, and those things weren't, perfectly accurate. And she wanted to be as accurate as she could be. And so that's why she informed me of all this information. So she said that they got a call from a family member at approximately.
It's like probably the 5th or 6th time he's informed me. They informed me.
Approximately 1:32 p.m. And that they knew at the time of that Chronicles of Olivia interview that the 911 came out at 11:58 a.m. They were notified officially by the sheriff between 4:45 p.m. and 4:45 p.m. and 5 p.m. approximately. It wasn't set in stone. It's approximately around that time. So when they're referring to the 6 hours.
Okay, so wow, that's I mean, the police were called somewhere around noon, right? So nobody contacted the family. The police didn't contact the family until like 4 or 5 hours later.
To get the call, or
according to Dan,
the 10 hours. He's referring times that it took from 911 call to be notified, or from the time that the passing to be notification, or for the notification. And like I said, those things aren't accurate. Those are the moments where Steve was speaking.
What do you mean those things aren't that accurate? What does that mean? Does that mean what you're telling us is not true?
Out of emotion. So let's break it down a little bit more in detail. At 1:32, a call from a family member comes in stating that there was a possible party and a shooting involved in which where Kaylee had lost her life. The Gonzalez stated that their family began, scrambling around, calling hospitals, calling police department, trying to find out any information that they could. Uh, they did make contact with the Moscow Police Department. Basically, that told them that they didn't have any other information for them at the time of the call that they made.
Okay, so real quick, 142, a family member notifies him, or somebody notifies him at 142 that something happened.
With them, they asked them if they should go down to Moscow, and they said no. I asked, you know, Christy if they made it down to Moscow, and they told me no. And that the reason was when they did finally make contact with the police department, they were told to stay put. And to wait for authorities. They didn't know what to do, so they stayed put. They did make contact with Maddie's mom. It was at the time of the contact, was about 20 minutes from Moscow. This was roughly right after they spoke with the sheriff's department. So that kind of leads me to believe that maybe perhaps she was told the same thing, as far as Maddie's mom. She may have called earlier throughout the day and told to stay put. And may have
Well, don't say that. You're just speculating, Dan. You don't know what Maddie's mom was told.
been made contact with the sheriff's department prior to. Now, according to the Gonzalez family, when authorities did come out there and talk to them, they stated that they were given a card with a detective's name and told to call in the morning. Now, the Gonzalez or Christy, she did mention to me that between the time that they got a phone call at 1:32 p.m. and the time that the sheriff's department had shown up to their house, that they heard rumors that this was a possible overdose with coke and fentanyl. Now, those were rumors that were circulating around friends and students. And
Okay, well, that's a big discrepancy, right? How do you go from a quadruple stabbing where 4 people are murdered to somebody overdosed on fentanyl and cocaine, right?
citizens of Moscow
And how do we even know that Christy Goncalves talked to Daniel directly if he's not even going to air any of this phone interview? I mean, the title is Phone Interview with Christy Goncalves. But there is no phone interview. It's just him telling us that there was a phone interview, but he's not airing any of it. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like if Christy told Dano this, and told him that it was okay to air it, why wouldn't he air it, right? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of confusing to me. Really confusing, actually. How do we know this phone interview wasn't with somebody else or wasn't with a news station? And maybe that's why he's not airing it, right?
and that knew some of the children of Christy Gonzalez's family. And when the sheriff came over, they asked him if it was a drug related offense or if it was something else. Even at that point, they were still unclear about what the cause or the manner of death was, and that they explained to them at that point that no, it was not a drug related incident, that it was a quadruple homicide.
We can see in his glasses, he's definitely reading off something. I don't know, maybe one of you guys with some high tech stuff could see exactly what he's reading off of there. But yeah.
Now, the reason why I bring this up is that Dave, the University of Idaho student who's come forward and talked to us about certain things, he had mentioned that the morning of the incident, that he had heard early on that there was an incident, possibly a stabbing, and then those rumors turned into an OD on coke and fentanyl. Now, Gonsalves family saying that they heard those rumors probably somewhere between 1:30 p.m. and 4:45 p.m. between the time in which they got the phone call from the relative to the time that they ended up making contact officially with the authorities at their residence. Somewhere in between there.
Yeah, okay, well, that's huge, huge discrepancy. That wasn't even close to being right, you know?
Dave says that he heard similar rumors. It was in the morning, perhaps.
It's just like that Kim that they've had on their show. Has no idea what she's talking about. She's just an attention seeker. Um, she's been debunked officially.
Perhaps. I don't think that Dave's lying, but perhaps maybe the accuracy is in which what time he heard those things might be a little bit in question here. But who knows? You're looking at a family that is in Coeur d'Alene, and Dave who's in Moscow, Idaho. Now, I did ask Christy if she knows anybody, or if Jack or if anybody else knows or has heard anything about people being informed prior to the 911 call, and outside of the persons who may have discovered the body. The answer is they don't know anyone.
Yeah. Well, how is Christy gonna know what anybody else knows, right? Like, they're not gonna tell Christy everything they know. She hasn't talked to all of those people or everybody involved, right? I mean, and we still don't even know if Christy actually even did an interview with Dan. He's not airing anything.
Especially anyone that may have known something hours prior to the 911 call. I tend to believe them. I believe them. I don't think they're lying at all, 100%. And, at the same token, like I said, memory and recalling things, and when it comes to,
Well, that makes me feel a lot better because Dan believes it. Um, if you've seen my other reactions I've done on these guys, they've been wrong on at least 6 to 7 different things.
second or third party information, sometimes.
For example, they met at the Mad Greek. They said they apparently met Kohberger at the Mad Greek restaurant. That's just one that I can think right off the top of my head.
Sometimes those things can be inaccurate. When it comes to Dave, he was, he's going back off of the memory of some things. Now he does have he corroborates the time that he woke up with 9:30 because of, or the time of 9:30 in the morning, having knowledge of something happening was because he had to go to work. Now I'll be reaching out to Dave and getting a comment from him as well, and we'll probably discuss that a little bit further, as far as, is it possible that he was off, or who knows. Our goal here isn't to.
All right, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit, see if he's got anything else. Just by scrolling through here, I can tell that there is no phone interview. It's just him talking the entire video. Let's skip ahead a little bit. He's just rambling.
Procedural means, and so they feel that if something were to happen, where if Kohberger, let's just say, was responsible for this, and he were to get off on a technicality or anything like that, that they are protected to go after, and the city for making whatever mistakes they may have made, if they've been made. There's a lot of information that they're not aware of.
Yeah, because there's a freaking gag order, Dan. I should have known.
They weren't privileged
just by this title and clicking on this video
to a lot of information. They haven't spoken with Bethany or Dylan. They don't know what their story is per se. They know a lot about what's in the probable cause affidavit and just a few more things.
Okay, so they don't know much anything else than we already know. Okay, that's what it boils down to. There's the gag order. The police obviously can't tell even the family members anything more than the public, and we already know. There was no phone interview. That's the title of this fucking video. Um, and that's all I can really say. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this in the comments. And until next time, True Crime King out.